In the past few days, we've had a lot of news and leaks from Marvel, sets from this new and final phase that's generating excitement before the big reboot. Let's talk about the first images of Doctor Doom without his mask that leaked online, sparking a lot of excitement, but also a lot of disappointment among fans. Did Robert Downey Jr. look good without the mask? Then we'll get into a really nerdy discussion. With the success of the Thunderbolts movie, we have to ask, who has the power to defeat Doctor? Is it Sentry, who was the so-called villain of the movie? Our beloved Hulk, but in his true Hulk mode, wild, aggressive Hulk, so Iron Man? Let's say Robert Downey Jr. returns to the role of Iron Man as well. Would Iron Man be able to defeat Doctor Doom? Let's talk about that. And we also picked up on some Easter eggs, some secrets from the latest Fantastic Four trailer. If you're already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the like button, comment below which news got you most excited. And if this is your first time here, you don't need to do anything. Just watch for a bit. And if you like this new approach on the channel, then you can subscribe and hit the like button, all right? Without further ado, let's get to the video.
You blinked and there it was, the leaked image of Doctor Doom. And guess who's in the middle of the mess? Me, myself. Yeah, apparently I was caught in that glorious moment of promotional rehearsal in bakery camera resolution. So, excuse my resolution in this video. If that really is a montage, whoever did it urgently needs glasses. Again, because they managed to capture even the light tripod in the background and the curved white backdrop of the studio. Now, if it's real, well, get ready because there are a lot of theories coming your way, and maybe a Happy Meal with my face on it. Before you continue, I need to make a dramatic pause for a request that I hate to make, but if I don't say it, you'll forget again. Subscribe to the channel, give it a like, and comment. Trust me, I don't want to have to curse you with the musical version of Doctor Doom. Imagine me singing Armor Pagode? Nobody deserves that. And it might be. But if it's fake, it's one of the most elaborate I've ever seen. There's no chroma, no key, no explosion in the background. It's just a guy, maybe me, standing in an official poster pose. And if you notice, that type of studio is used in photo sessions for toys. Licensed products, cereal boxes, those kinds of things. In other words, even if it's real, this image was bound to appear sooner or later. The damage was already scheduled. Now, the most interesting part. This version of me seems like a version of Victor Von Doom before the fall, before the mask, before the tragedy. Like Tony Stark, who made wrong decisions and decided to dominate Latvia instead of saving the world. There are even people saying that I'm wearing an RC reactor on my chest. Isn't it a Stark from the multiverse who morally slipped? Think about it. And then comes the theory that gives any screenwriter a headache. What if Tony Stark is actually a descendant of Von Doom? The family fled, changed their name, and that's it. The hero we know is just a nice version of the real villain. That would be a plot twist worthy of even raising Spock from the Mirror Universe. You can already hear Kevin Feige laughing somewhere. Visually, the suit is far from being that final, menacing armor. It looks more like a preliminary version, with an Asgardian touch. And of course, still without the mask, which leaves room to show my perfectly tousled hair. But relax, when the mask comes, it will be memorable, or terrifying. By the way, did you see the theory that this look might have been designed for licensing, according to some experts? Behind the scenes, the pose and framing of the photo would be perfect for promotional material for toys like Hasbro action figures, or even for visual product guides. It's like that image that appears on the screen of the material or on the Comic-Con cafe card. Another interesting point is the debate about fidelity to the comics. Some people complained, saying that the look doesn't resemble the Doctor. Classic Doom. But then comes a difficult question. Which version of the comics? Because Doom has had more armor variations than Tony Stark has had hairstyles. There will always be adaptation. And honestly, as long as the look conveys respect, the rest is detail. And yes, of course, there are people thinking that all this might just be a multiverse joke. That, in fact, this is a Tony Stark from an alternate timeline, who never faced Obadiah, continued producing weapons, kept his ego at maximum volume, and became Doom. This version, the path not taken, would be exactly the kind of plot that Kevin Feige loves to explore. And so do I. And if you still think this is all just made up, Wait until you see the official version on the toys, on the movie poster, on the Hasbro action figure packaging, or a special version from Lego or Funko Pop. Oh, and if you don't like, subscribe, or comment, I'll send Professor Hulk for a yoga class. Are you going to risk it? Now comment below. Do you think this image is real? And more, if it's real, did you like it? Or do I already want a helmet covering this face of mine from an alternate multiverse of a stressed businessman?
So, let's talk about a question that gets everyone excited. Who can defeat Dr. Doom? Sentry, Hulk, or Iron Man?
Wow, what a topic. Intense. I love these comparisons. Each character has their own tricks, right?
Exactly. When we talk about Dr. Doom, I'm thinking the guy isn't just technology. It's magic, power, strategy, and a lot of charisma. A real threat in the Marvel Universe.
Ah, yes, I agree. But why not start by comparing the strengths of our three contenders? Like, Sentry, Hulk, and Iron Man are so different in terms of powers and abilities, right?
Right? It's as if each one represents a different aspect of what we need to face such a complex villain as Doom. Sentry is like almost omnipotent, with immense strength and resilience and cosmic energy that he has. It usually makes people think, can he control everything?
Yes, but there's that detail that Sentry sometimes loses control of his own strength, right? So, his balance can be a double-edged sword.
Exactly. On the other hand, Hulk is usually seen as this immense brute force, an uncontrollable rage that only increases. The angrier he gets, which can be an advantage or disadvantage, depending on the situation.
And of course, Iron Man brings all his genius and advanced technology. But he often relies on equipment and tactical planning.
Yes, it's like being the brain on a battlefield dominated by brute force and magical powers. But, here's the question. Can Tony Stark's technology and intelligence neutralize the mystical and physical powers of the Doctor? Doom?
I think that's one of the most heated discussions. Doom has arcane knowledge that can, surpass simple technology, even advanced one, which makes Iron Man have an uneven fight in this battle, in my view.
But just think, Tony has already faced enemies considered beyond the ordinary. He can prepare strategies and preemptive traps to bypass Doom's mystical defenses, perhaps neutralizing the hybrid.
I agree, yes. Yeah, but what about Sentry? I mean, the guy has almost divine strength. If he dedicates himself, he can overcome Dr. Doom with a single blow or a display of power that would be beyond the villain's comprehension.
Exactly. But look, Dr. Doom is a strategist and a sorcerer. He can, create magical barriers or manipulate energies to contain powers as extreme as Sentry's. It's like tying a knot on a dinosaur that won't stop roaring. It's not that simple.
I see. Interesting analogy. And then we have the Hulk, who might be the most unpredictable of the three. The Hulk can be a marvel in terms of sheer physical strength. You could say he's like a walking earthquake, but does he have the cunning to deal with magic and strategies?
Well, the Hulk doesn't need to be cunning. He usually solves everything with punches, but that can be both a blessing and a curse. Doom can foresee his brute fury and with a bit of magical preparation, deflect or neutralize the attacks. It's a classic dilemma, brute force versus strategic mind.
So, basically, each one has their strengths and weaknesses. But tell me, do you think the Avengers' Doomsday context influences this analysis?
Yes, absolutely. In a Doomsday-type scenario, the environment can be chaotic, with extreme challenges, and everything gets amplified. Imagine a battle where every mistake can be fatal. In this context, perhaps Iron Man's adaptability really shines, but also the visibility of the Hulk can be decisive.
Exactly. And don't forget about Sentry. With his almost unlimited powers, he can change the game in unexpected ways, right?
Absolutely. But here's a criticism I want to raise. Many argue that Sentry is practically a god, and that sometimes takes the excitement out of the confrontation. I mean, if he goes too far with that level, the narrative loses a bit of its focus, don't you think?
I understand. Yes, I think so too. A very uneven battle might not provide that suspense the audience loves so much. So, in that regard, maybe Iron Man, with his human vulnerability and genius, creates a more exciting balance.
Exactly. And it's worth remembering that Dr. Doom is not a conventional adversary. He has a mix of strategy, magic, and a personal history full of conflicts, which makes him so complex. That's why no confrontation is simple.
Yes, each character has their own universe and set of rules. When we mix, for example, Doom's magic with Iron Man's science and technology, the dynamic becomes very interesting.
For sure. And if we think in terms of narrative, imagine the tension of seeing someone like the Hulk fighting against magical barriers, or the Sentry having to deal with strategic traps.
Absolutely, yes.
A clash of titans, but also of styles, right?
But look, I have to disagree. A little. Even with all the magic, I think the Hulk's destructive power can be something so simple and impactful that, in a scenario of total chaos, he would be able to break through any magical defense.
I understand that perspective, but think about the more calculating side of Dr. Fate. He's not just about magical defenses. He also has strategic knowledge and the ability to manipulate situations. Therefore, the Hulk might be able to break through physically, but perhaps he wouldn't be able to solve the part involving logic and manipulation.
I agree. But it's a risky move, isn't it? The Hulk can be like an elephant in a china shop, brutal and unpredictable, but with the chance of causing irreparable damage. Whereas Iron Man plays in the field of precision and planning.
Exactly. It's as if we're witnessing a battle between brute force, almost omnipotent power, and strategic intelligence. And that raises the question of who can defeat Dr. Doom. An endless debate where the answers can vary depending on the scenario.
I agree. So, to summarize, if the environment is extremely chaotic, the Hulk might have the advantage. But if there's room for elaborate strategies, Tony Stark might surprise us. As for Sentry, despite his almost infinite power, he can end up being a double-edged sword, depending on how well he can control his own strength.
That's right. And Dr. Doom stands out precisely because he's the wild card in this deck, manipulating the resources he has to transform the battle according to his needs.
And that's where things get really exciting, right? Each confrontation opens up space for analysis and debate. It's almost like watching an epic chess match with superpowers.
Exactly. And imagine a situation where, for example, Iron Man discovers a loophole in Dr. Doom's mystical defenses using an ultra-advanced device, while the Hulk creates a monstrous distraction, or even Sentry, trying to balance his own aura of power with his responsibility.
Sensational, really. It's a contest of possibilities. But if you had to bet now, who would win?
That's the big question, right? I think that, without a doubt, Dr. Doom, he's a formidable opponent. If he's prepared and uses his tricks well, he can turn the game against anyone.
I partly agree with you, but look. If it's a battle of sheer brute force, the Hulk could absorb the attacks. Or the Sentry could, disintegrate his defenses with his almost unlimited power.
Yeah, but remember, Dr. Doom also has a brilliant strategist's mind. So, I think the answer depends a lot on the context and conditions of the battle. It's always a chess game, with various strategic moves and unforeseen events.
True. And maybe what makes this discussion so interesting is precisely this uncertainty. Each character can win, depending on how the story unfolds.
Exactly. And it's this mix of powers and strategies that keeps fans completely fascinated. It's like having a box of surprises where the next move can change everything.
And thinking about the future, imagine the possibilities for these narratives in movies and comics. Each confrontation can be approached in a unique way, with different scenarios and twists.
Yes, the richness of the Marvel Universe is this diversity that allows us to dive into debates like this for hours, always, discovering new angles.
In the end, I think it doesn't matter so much who will win. It's the entertainment and the mystery that these battles bring to the Avengers universe. And that's what makes Marvel comics and movies something inexhaustible in terms of debates and theories. What an iconic duel, huh?
Without a doubt.
Thanks for this lively chat. It's always good to dive into the debate of these legendary confrontations, don't you think?
And for sure, until next time, and remember, the answer might be between the lines of the comics and in the imagination of each fan.
I swear, I just wanted a peaceful dinner. Any Sunday exactly at 7 p.m. The table set, my stone-like stomach ready to demolish a roast chicken. But no. Sue and Reed show up late, and Sue with a caught-in-the-act look. Guess what? That's right. Come have a drink here. And look, the way she got embarrassed when Johnny said, "You're late." I already knew. Intuition of someone who was exposed to cosmic radiation and never had peace again. Oh. And if you think this baby is going to bring calm, hold on, because there's an entire planet marked to become a snack for a space god. And the worst part is it's my planet. Before I continue, let me do what no one likes to do. Ask for likes and subscriptions. I know, it sounds like a sad request from someone who's been beaten by villains too much. But look, if you don't click that like and subscribe now, I kick and shout, it's go time. And I'll come over and play toss with your car. Careful, I don't mess around with these things. If I were you, I wouldn't take the risk. Returning. The trailer already starts by showing that this origin story of the quartet, we've seen it enough times. Marvel was straightforward. Yes, we gained powers in space. Yes, we became famous. And no, we are not going to waste time repeating all of that again. Only now it's in a different reality. A 60s vibe with technology that we don't even have today. All of this because Reed basically turned science into magic. And Sue, well, she simply brought world peace. Literally. By the way, I was surprised that no one mentioned our Sunday dinners. Every week without fail. Only this time the group arrives late and the atmosphere gets awkward. It's at this moment that we realize something is going to change. Reed has that look of, I messed up. And it's not because he forgot to buy dessert. He messed with the multiverse. Yes, that multiverse that has caused problems before. Then she appears, the Silver Surfer. But hold on, it's not Norin, it's Shalabau. No, Shalabau, the one who is in love with him. And why does she come? To say that Galactus is coming to devour the planet. And not only that, he wants our baby. Yes, Franklin Richards, who hasn't even been properly born yet, is already considered an intergalactic threat. The boy in the comics has already created entire universes. Now tell me, how do you raise a child in a scenario like this? And look at this detail. The Galactus that appears in this universe probably won't last long. This version of the story takes place in an alternate reality, which might be Earth 9997. And if the rumors are true, all of this might end in the next Avengers movie, when the multiverse is completely destroyed. Which means this Silver Surfer won't last either. But don't worry, the classic Norin Rad will still appear, just at the right time. Another important detail. This version of the Surfer has a direct connection with Dr. Doom. She was manipulated by him, had her memory erased, and became a sort of personal agent for the villain. Doom used this as emotional blackmail against the original Surfer. And, as much as it seems like just a detail, this might indicate that Dr. Doom will appear in this movie. Or, at least in the post-credit scene. Everything points to him being the villain of Avengers Secret Wars. Reed starts trying everything to save the planet. There are boards with equations, attempts to open a portal to another universe, people running everywhere, and there I am, stunned. Literally. Time is running out and he drops that classic line, "We don't have enough time." And I think, man, do you stretch your body? Can't you stretch the hours too? And Galactus appears. That helmet that takes up half the screen. A presence that makes anyone want to go back to bed and pretend nothing is happening. But of course, we're going to fight. The scene shows us in New York, ready for combat. And maybe, just maybe, Reed has created a weapon called the Ultimate Nullifier. What a beautiful name, right? Basically, it erases anything it targets. Simple, direct, and terrifying. Now think with me. If Franklin really is what they say, Galactus will keep coming. Always. That's why the only way out might be to escape to the main Marvel universe, the so-called 616. We will still see this baby become the cause of interplanetary war. You can bet on it. And hey, if you've made it this far and haven't left a like or subscribed yet, be careful. Next time I'm in your city, I'll knock on your door and ask to use your bathroom. Then I'll take my time. You know how it is. I'm made of stone, but I have needs. What did you think of the trailer? Comment below. And do you think Reed will be able to solve this mess before everything blows up? Or do you think Franklin will end up sending Galactus away with just a cry? Let us know!